the October 2nd, 2025 Board of Adjustment meeting for Scott County. Thank you. First order of business, I'm looking for approval of September 4th, 2025 minutes. Did anyone have a chance to read them?
I make a motion to approve as stated.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passed. Minutes approved. Charlie, can you swear our speakers in, please?
Yes, ma'am. Would everybody stand, raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm statements you make tonight to be the truth to the best of your information and belief? Thank you.
All right. There are no old applications, so we will move on to our new applications. S 2025-24.
Yep, yeah. This is a variance application at the property address 107 Triport Circle. It's to several regulations and requirements that I'll get into in a little bit, but it is essentially a variance to the requirements for sanitary sewer connection to allow for the temporary use of an alternative waste management facility with an on-site treatment system at 107 Triport Circle. Is a B2 zone property measuring about 1.7 acres with access off of Triport Circle, which ultimately has an intersection with Cherry Blossom Way. And staff does recommend approval of the application. This is an aerial shot here. This is taken in about February or so in 2025. So since this photo, there has been some site activity that I'll get into shortly. However, in 2023, a preliminary development plan was approved for a 6,000 square foot truck wash with 34,000 square feet of vehicular use area. And then their final development plan was approved in 2024. This is their zoning area here. So this portion of Triport Industrial is a commercially zoned property. There's a large gas station there. There's other kind of truck-oriented businesses in this location, and is in very close proximity to the I-75. So this is their plan that was approved in 2023. And the regulations in question that they are now seeking relief from are one in the subdivision regulations, which requires that all commercial properties be within an urban service boundary, all commercial properties within the urban service boundaries within a sewer service area be connected to those facilities. And a variance to the schedule of area and dimension regulations in the zoning ordinance to temporarily permit a private system on a parcel measuring under 5 acres in order to install such facility on the property. The applicant has stated that this is born out of necessity as the Division of Water for the Commonwealth had placed a hold on new sewer connections to the public sewer provider in the area, which is Bluegrass Water and Utility, which is a subsidiary of a larger company that manages the Delaplane Disposal Wastewater Treatment Facility. They had received a letter from the larger Bluegrass Water Utility Company with conditional approval to provide wastewater services to the development, contingent upon some upgrades to the facility. And they did sign their final development plan saying that they would serve the property with facility involvement. And then the applicant began their process, and along the way, things kind of fell apart. And so now they are looking for an alternative. When we are reviewing variances, we refer to KRS 100.243, which is our findings requirement, which states that before any variance is granted, the board must find that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare, would not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations. In making these findings, the board shall consider whether the requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to land in the vicinity or in the same zone. The strict application of the provisions of the regulation would deprive the applicant of a reasonable use of the property or create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant. And the circumstances are the result of actions of the applicant taken subsequent to the adoption of zoning regulations from now, that now the applicant is seeking relief from. If there is evidence of willful violation of the regulations, the board shall deny any request for variances. To kind of run through the timeline again, in November of 2023, a preliminary development plan for a 6,000 square foot truck wash was approved by the Planning Commission Board contingent upon several conditions, one of which being utility connection. In December of 2023, a letter was sent to the engineer at the time, or the engineer of record at the time for the project, saying that services could become available with connection and with the plans meeting all requirements of that utility provider. I've attached, or I've shown the letter here that's also in your guys' packet from the applicant. In December of 2024, the utility company signed the final development plan, which stated that the utility had the capacity to supply the property with wastewater services upon meeting any of their internal standards for connection and construction. And then in January 2025 or thereabouts, the applicant began working on doing pre-construction meetings with our office and then actually breaking ground on site to build the 6,000 square foot facility. After that time, in spring and summer of 2025, the applicant was finishing up things. We had been monitoring them with our engineering office, and they applied for sewer connection, but were ultimately denied for that, denied from getting that sewer connection due to the sanctions being placed upon the utility provider in the area. They had requested they had submitted a request to be an exception to that denial request, and ultimately that was a denied item. Just for general reference, there are two public utility providers in the area that do wastewater and sanitary services. There's Georgetown Municipal, which services the larger Georgetown area, and then there's Bluegrass Water and Utility, which has several small kind of pockets which they serve. The one that this one is located in is under the wastewater treatment plant for the Del Plain disposal, and this serves Moon Lake across the interstate and several of the other kind of 1 acre R1A, R1B pockets right along 25, as well as the industrial park that's off of Triport Road. So there is a lot of kind of users in this general area, but ultimately, after all these users and everything going on, the Division of Water put a kind of a stop on this to say, unfortunately, we understand, but you guys cannot connect right now. There's a sanctions order on this one. And so the applicant, after kind of doing some engineering proposals and all that research and things like that, the applicant submitted a plan for a variance on how they would be pursuing an alternative treatment mechanism. They would add a septic tank to the property, adding a holding tank and piping to those areas, putting in biofields, pumps, and other kind of features and pieces and parts, all of which are underneath the purview of the Division of Water to make sure that the water that is coming from it does not meet the unacceptable levels of where that is now an illegal dump of any wastewater. It would be a treated kind of gray water product, I believe, if not just natural water that would be able to enter into the storm system for the area and then kind of go through the natural existing storm system in Scott County. This is their only option available to them at this point. Georgetown Municipal does not serve the property, does not have any control over the sewer in this area, and at this point has not expressed interest in taking responsibility for the wastewater treatment plant in the general vicinity. And with Bluegrass Water and Utility, the applicant is out of options, or at least has come to us for a variance because they are out of options for an alternative in order for them to pursue their business and go forward. In the staff report, I kind of go item by item, just kind of discussing the findings in the review that staff has performed about the property. Staff finds that it satisfies KRS 100.243 item A, which states that this is a special circumstance. As a property within the urban service boundary, zoned commercially already, it is anticipated that they would have sewer service provisions available, and that is not the case at this point in time. This is incredibly unique. Commercially zoned properties are rarely outside of an urban service boundary. If they are, they're on properties that are over 5 acres. And when they're into city areas, they're usually in Georgetown's area, which tends to have more of capacity available for those users to tie in, or at least a timeline for them to tie into the system. There's no option for Georgetown in this area, as I've stated previously. We do not approve, we will not sign off on final development plans without signatures from the utilities providers. If the utility provider was able to provide service, they sign it, they say that they could do it, and then we say, all right, you say you could do it, we'll let you guys proceed. They followed the normal step. We did our normal review process for applications, and then an issue kind of came up at the end that kind of slowed down this process to a screeching halt. Let's see. Moving to item 2 of KRS 100.243, they had pursued an alternative route, and this is their only way and their only mechanism available to them to do what is a by right use in their zone of operating a commercial business related to motor and automotive industry and uses. And this is, again, as I've stated several times now, it is their alternative, it is their only option. Staff also finds that there are no willful violations of the zoning ordinance, which satisfies KRS 100.243 item C. I will identify one thing that I did not put on the screen because it's a really dense packet of text. Scott County Ordinance 2107 is an ordinance related to stormwater illicit drainage detection and elimination in Scott County. Essentially, when you have activities on the property, we want to know how much drainage is coming from a site. We want to make sure that water is being treated and being managed appropriately, and therefore not an illegal dump of water. We want to keep our water pristine, and this is a mechanism in order to do this. There are several requirements related to treated water, and it is the applicant's responsibility to ensure that the treated water from their alternative waste management facility with their off-site treatment facility does not constitute illicit discharge or illicit connection pursuant to the ordinance. Their system is anticipated to meet the requirements of the Division of Water, and in doing so would not be an illicit discharge because the Division of Water sets specific standards on what is an acceptable release and what is not. What is being proposed would be very low levels released into the water system and therefore would be non-illicit and therefore acceptable under that ordinance. There are several kind of comments here in the staff report related to additional conditions, which I will just kind of jump to the conditions of approval on. But ultimately, staff finds in favor of granting the variance to the minimum lot area for a commercially zoned property on a private system from 5 acres to 1.7, and to allow for the alternative temporary system that, while the utility company improves the capacity of the wastewater treatment plant facility that is located in the Triport Industrial Park. There are 9 findings. The first, which talks about the regulations that they are seeking a variance from. The second is talking about the site conditions. Third is just third and fourth are just outlining the circumstances and the timeline of what's kind of going on. Fifth is their request for their proposal. Sixth is that staff finds that the applicant or the application has meets the findings requirement of KRS 100.243 for both the on-site or the commercial property within the urban service boundary and the less than the 5 acre minimum lot size for properties without public sanitary sewer connection. Eighth is that the staff recommends that a semi-annual review of the system be performed by the Board of Adjustment. In this instance, semi-annual would be biannually, so once every 2 years, just making sure that the system is operating appropriately, trying to potentially understand the timeline for site improvements and the potential for understanding when the site can join the public sanitary sewer system in the area. This is an alternative route. This isn't meant to be a temporary thing. It is staff's intent and hope that this will become an item or a property that will go on to the public system in the area, and they will not need this service anymore. But until such time, this is kind of what they've kind of brought up, and that is what staff is in favor of. The ninth one is just that the approval of the variance with the conditions recommended would not impact public health, safety, welfare, alter the character of the general vicinity, or cause hazard or nuisance, nor a circumvention or an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of zoning ordinance. Staff recommends approval of the variance applications, both of them kind of packaged into one, with 13 conditions of approval. First 3 are typical 3. Same thing with 4. 5 is just listen to the EEC offices on their regulations. For general reference, the Division of Water is an entity within the EEC. So by listening to the EEC, you are in fact listening to the Division of Water. 6 is about getting all permits to our office so we can have them on record, and then keeping us up to date as things change. A signed letter is from the EEC office confirming that the system meets all requirements for safe operation is condition 7. Condition 8 is a signed letter from WEDCO saying that the system meets all requirements for safe operation. and in instances where WEDCO is not the agency involved, just a letter saying that it is not WEDCO's responsibility to monitor and directing us to point to who is the responsible agency, just in the off chance that something is kind of in their purview. We just want to make sure that when we're doing biannual reviews, we're contacting the right agencies and making sure we're pointing them in the right direction should something occur. 9 is getting a minor amendment to the approved final development plan with all of their new additional activities on the property. So all those new squares, just making sure that we have those on record on a plat and that they had been approved by everybody to operate and be located on that property. 10 is just saying that a biannual review or once every 2 years be performed by the Board of Adjustment to get a status update on the operations of the facility and the public utilities intent to connect. Sorry, I meant to progress the slide. 11 is that if at any point in compliance with all related regulations, the Planning Commission office or its boards do reserve the right to review it. So if we are hearing of something that is not going correctly on the property, we can reconvene the board and with proper notification and proper policy being followed, kind of just take an evidentiary hearing, kind of discuss what's going on, if there's any interventions that need to occur. I would hope not. Condition 12 is talking about that if the applicant essentially hears anything from the public utility about any connections or improvements from either the utility themselves or the Division of Water or the EEC, that they notify the Planning Commission and just have it on record that we are keeping a timeline of when improvements are being done. And then condition 13 is stating that the applicant shall connect to public wastewater and sewer when the capacity becomes available to the project site, and then submit a development plan with showing connection to the public system and decommissioning of the temporary system on site.
Does anyone have any questions for staff at this time?
I do, Elise. The reliability score, C. There's a reliability score of a C on the EEC paper.
I'm going to point to the applicant on that one,
Okay.
on how that is determined, if they can provide any insight into that system. Is there anything else for me at this point?
Nothing else for her right now. Is the applicant here?
Yeah.
Could you step up, please? I think we have a question for you. See, I told you I would get you, didn't I? Yep. You have a question for him?
I
Aye.
see the condition 7, the applicant shall supply a signed letter, and the signed letter from Mr. Matthew Fields. I just assembled my packet, so I don't know where it is within that for you, if you have one, but it says reliability score C.
Let me look for that.
What is that?
That's a good question.
Is that like A, B, C, D, F, like in school? Are you mid-grade?
Oh, you know what? This is actually what's called the WLA. This is what the state, the Division of Water gave us as the limitations for any of the pollutants that would be discharged, right? So I don't know what reliability score C is, but this is the limit. So they're going to test water every month. So every month, we have to make sure that all our numbers are underneath these numbers here, basically. Again, I can't speak to the reliability score. I don't know what that means.
But you all
this
have
is
to
just
know
the-
that, won't you?
What's that?
Won't you have to know how they'll score?
No, the scoring, to me, the way it was explained to me was that when we engineer this, it has to be able to meet the regulations, which are the summer limits in milligrams per liter of 20 for the COBDs on a 5-day thing. So total suspended solids should be less than 30. Everything has to be below those numbers. So I don't think that's a indication of the system itself. Actually, I know it's not an indication of the system itself.
Excuse me.
Yes,
So you're
sir.
saying that the levels listed in that letter are the
Right.
ones you must maintain
The
each inspection period.
They call it the
in order
wa-
to continue operating.
yes, the waste load allocation every month has to meet these minimally.
So it's black and white numbers. These are the numbers.
Yeah, these
you
are the
have to be-
numbers. There's no, yeah, that's why the C thing, you know, it's funny, I didn't even see that. I've never even noticed that.
I guess I would want to familiarize myself with that.
Well, like I said, I'll ask them for sure, but
would.
I know that these limitations are what they said is our benchmark, so.
Is there anything else, Chad? Did you catch anything? Anybody else have a question for him?
That's a big question.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Excuse me, your name again, please?
I'm Ken Garcia.
Okay, you're the Garcia.
I'm the Garcia.
Okay. thank you.
Yeah.
When,
And just so you all know how this came about, I mean, we've tried desperately to connect to sewers. We've had so many engineering meetings to try to get our sewer attached to this, and this is really a stopgap measure. And this was brought to us by the state. They said, hey, you can do this way as a stopgap measure. So it was kind of brought to us. I didn't know anything about this, to be honest with you, when I first started. I can tell you a lot now because that's all I've been doing for the last 2 months is working on this. So, again, this is not something we wanted. We kind of got, we're
You
over
all
$2 million
are only-
into this project, and then they denied us a sewer tap.
are you all only cleaning the exterior, or are you cleaning hazmat inside of tanks?
No, so this system is just for the wash water that's coming out. So that wash water is going through this system and will be delivered out to the outflow.
No, I mean during the process, are you all cleaning inside of trailers? Inside of the holding tanks that haul chemicals?
No, just outside.
Exterior?
Yeah, exterior only. Yeah, no, that's why, yeah, there's gonna be no.
You're like a big car wash?
It's like anything that's oversized, like a van,
Yeah, I drove out there. It's-
Matter of fact, I think it was the fire department has reached out to us already to wash their trucks, but, yeah, no, there should be nothing. That's why we went through this with the state, and I've been in contact with them so many times about making sure that what we have, I'm an avid fisherman, I'm an outdoors guy, I don't want to put anything in any waters that is not going to be good, so.
It's kind of reassuring that the state proposed it anyway.
Yeah, it was really their idea, honestly.
They also took our dam down.
Let's entertain a motion.
They also took the dam down.
Well, is there any other questions, comments for applicant or staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Charlie, everything okay with you?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, hon.
I make a motion to approve file S 2025-24 based on the, how many was it, 13 staff recommendations for approval.
If you could just say the entire staff report, because that gets us the findings of fact as well as conditions.
Okay, the entire staff report?
Yeah, because we want that accountability.
Yeah.
All right, second.
I'll second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise? Motion passed. All right. Where would you go from here?
I know they were there praying through the whole way.
Yeah.
And I'll send you guys a letter tomorrow, and then you can take it to whatever agencies you need to take it to, and we'll proceed from there. We'll get all of our plans going forward.
I would do that.
Yeah.
And figure out that C.
We got a bunch of, I'm gonna tell you what that is, I'm gonna get that to you.
Yeah, let us know.
I mean, like,
No, really, I never even saw that.
I have 2 kids in school. If they bring home a C, I have a problem.
Let at least know what that
Thank you.
Yeah. You've got a C and you haven't even started yet. That's kind of sad.
I understand. I was genuinely concerned though, like if you were hazmat cleaning inside, and then then it's a C, well, that's like, that's scary.
I haven't taken a test yet. All right, well. All right.
I hope you all do great.
Go have a big steak dinner and celebrate.
I can't afford to take that. We got too much incident.
Thank you.
Not today. I'll just send you a letter with it, and you'll be good to go. No of signing.
Thank you all so much. Thanks again.
All right. I wish I had that relief right now.
I
for
know,
my
they
life.
look like, I wish I could feel that.
All right, let's move on to the second application, S 2025-25. Staff?
Good evening, everyone. This case is the variance request for the property located at 574 Stone Town Road. The applicant is requesting approval for a variance to reduce the minimum side yard setback from 50 feet to 20 feet in order to construct a pole barn on the east side of the property. The subject property contains 6.75 acres, is zoned A1 agricultural, and is accessed from Stone Town Road. After review of the submitted materials and applicable zoning standards, staff's recommendation is denial of the variance request. Shown here is an aerial view of the property with the parcel boundaries demarcated in red. The existing residence is shown here in orange, and the proposed pole barn location as requested by the applicant is indicated in purple. This is a more zoomed in map for the location of the pole barn and how it sits accordingly with the existing site conditions. As mentioned in the earlier presentation, KRS 100.243 sets forth that a variance must be based on special conditions unique to the property and must not conflict with public welfare or zoning intent. The applicant has stated that the rear portion of the property is hilly with uneven groundwater runoff, making it difficult to build in that area. They also explained that placing the structure in front of the home would not be practical or visually suitable. Because of these conditions, the applicant is asking for a reduced side yard setback to build the pole barn in what they believe is the most practical location. The applicant further noted that these conditions were not created by their own actions and that the variance would help them make better use of the property for its intended purpose. In terms of the site analysis, staff reviewed the topographic data and noted that some areas of the property may allow the proposed structure within the 50 feet setback. Each variance request is considered on its own and does not set a precedent for other properties. While staff understands the applicant's desire for a functional and accessible location, any claim of hardship must be based on clear physical constraints of the land. Existing non-conforming structures cannot be used as a reason for new variances. Based on review of the site plan and the maps, staff finds that the submitted materials do not demonstrate unique site conditions that make compliance with the 50 feet setback impracticable. The information provided does not establish that strict adherence to the zoning ordinance would result in a deprivation of reasonable use of the property. The property has previously received a variance approval earlier this year, which reduced the minimum lot width at the build line from 250 feet to 170 feet to accommodate the home construction. Based on the information available, staff's findings do not support an additional variance to reduce the side yard setback requirement. In conclusion, staff recommends denial of the variance request to reduce the side yard setback from 50 feet to 20 feet for the proposed pole barn at the said property. However, should the board determine that the applicant has met the statutory findings and decide to approve the request, staff recommends that the following conditions of approval be included. One being the property shall remain subject to all provisions of the Georgetown-Scott County zoning ordinance and subdivision and development regulations. The applicant must obtain all applicable permits from local, state, and federal agencies and submit copies of those permits to the board. A building permit must be secured from the building inspection office prior to construction, and any changes to the approved plan or conditions shall return to the board for review and approval. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? A moment. All right. Let me get back with, is the applicant here? Nope. Any questions for the applicant who's not here? Nope.
Oh, that bothers me so bad.
Yeah, well, I guess we can just go ahead and move to a motion if the
Yeah.
applicant's not here. I'll entertain a motion, please.
Well,
Denial.
I think I went out by there, and I see no reason why they couldn't have chosen a different spot to build this. So I'm going to go along with the staff and recommend denial on this application on the file number S-2025-25 for the property on 574 Stonetown Road in accordance with all staff recommendations and findings.
Excellent.
I second that.
I listen sometimes, Charlie.
Motion's been made to deny and
I
seconded.
won't count on it next time, but I
I just-
appreciate it this time.
I think there's a lot
All
of
in
land
favor?
there. that is-
Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion passed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good job, by the way.
I think that when you want something, you should show up.
She did a really good job on that. Okay.
And
That was
just
a
to,
great report.
and to clarify further, staff did go out there. Ms. Holland, you didn't ask that. And obviously by staff's,
I couldn't see
observations.
anything.
But admittedly, it was a little difficult because they are building a house out there, so we didn't want to encroach too much. But from what staff saw, Toshi did a really good job with their observations and findings. And the applicant was emailed a copy of the report and all things of that nature, so.
And
We did
y'all
not,
thought,
we
yeah.
we didn't hear anything from them since, so.
Maybe they were just giving it a try.
Could be, could be.
Maybe-
But we'll keep an eye on the situation. We'll talk with building inspection, and we'll make sure they get a letter based on your all's recommendations. Okay, and we'll move right along. Next application is a conditional use permit for secondary residence at 686 Anderson Road. It is an A1 zone property, just under 20 acres. Overall, staff is recommending approval of the application for a secondary residence for family members or farm workers. Let's see.
I thought we weren't going to be hearing this today.
Yeah.
Is it, am I thinking of the wrong case?
This is Anderson.
Well, I did too until I understood that we had, or they had inspected this yesterday and things hadn't been corrected according to enforcement letter. I may be misinformed, I don't know. Well, if you all don't know, then I'm sure I'm misinformed.
Yeah, no, I'll skip ahead. Brett, stay close.
Yeah, Brett, don't, Brett.
Charlie, we're gonna get your opinion on this really quick, because I think maybe me and you got our wires crossed. We were made aware that there was an ongoing code enforcement issue with this property after, that was initiated and substantiated after we received application. And reviewing the specific ordinance for Scott County, it was staff's reading
That's right, never mind. I
that
remember now.
it's a check at time of application.
I understand, yeah, you're
Okay.
exactly right. We talked about that, and that's exactly what the ordinance said, and since I drew it up 20 years ago, I can't say a thing about it now. So,
Okay. All right, Brett, take back over.
you're correct. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Now that we've got those guys in harmony, so again, staff has been made aware of a code violation on the property. We've been given notice that there was a reinspection yesterday. The applicant is still not in compliance. I do not know the exact timeline or the measures still needed, but at this time, the code enforcement case is still open and pending. That being said, the blue square here, or rectangle rather, is the proposed location of the second home. Some of the issues on the property, as detailed to staff, is there is an old home near the frontage, just off the drive on Anderson Road, that is dilapidated. I believe code enforcement is going to request that those measures be remediated and a few others on the property. That is not within our jurisdiction. That's up to code enforcement. So to continue on with the application, again, our zoning ordinance does list secondary single-family residences on the same tract for family members or hired farm workers as a conditional use in the zone. Being just under 20 acres, they would be within their rights to have. The three existing homes, technically, there's the one that's blighted. There is an existing home that they're living in now, and they're proposing this third. Granted that they have been asked to, I believe, take the house down on the roadside. So there will remain two existing dwellings if this one is approved and constructed, so they are well within their density allotment there. The applicant has indicated again that they do have intention of taking down the road at the frontage. However, the timeline is unclear. This information was given to us at time of application. Timeline may have changed now that they and code enforcement have had some conversations. Applicant states that the proposed residence, again, will be near the southwest corner. The positioning should allow them to abide by all setback standards. No new driveways or access from Anderson Road are proposed at this time. If and when there ever was, those would have to be evaluated and approved by the County Roads Department. So, and while staff and board can consider this application while said enforcement case is pending, the use applied for may not be enacted until the applicant is in good standing with all regulatory bodies. So that's even if they do receive a approval from the board this evening, essentially that application gets put on hold up until the point they're compliant with all other bodies, as I understand it. Again, all of our findings here are pretty straightforward, given the size of the parcel, what the ordinance states, that the positioning will adhere to all setbacks. Approval of the conditional use permit should not adversely impact public health, safety, or welfare. Additionally, approval of the conditional use permit will not alter the general character of the vicinity. And again, the board may hear this application and take action on it pending, the status of the code enforcement case. Sorry, that's kind of a mouthful. Yes, ma'am. Again, overall, we are recommending approval with our standard conditions, speaking to access and code enforcement case, et cetera.
Just a quick question, because there's just been
Yes.
side conversations. I'm trying to clarify in my own mind.
Okay.
Okay, so, at time of application, it was open for us to hear, so we are hearing this application, correct?
Correct.
You're saying if we were to approve this application, because it meets the regular ordinances and everything, it still could not be used until the other condition was resolved, right?
Correct.
So are we better off having a motion now or tabling this until the other one is resolved? Would that be an easier way not to muddy the water, or
What's your
Holden,
feelings
Red?
on that, Charlie?
Well, now that I recall our conversation, I don't see why they can't implement this if they're approved today, because we can hear it today, then they can do it today. I don't know where that complication may come from. I don't think that's in the ordinance. That may be the way building inspection or enforcement does things, but if we can hear it, then we can act.
So it wouldn't be, then they wouldn't have to wait until they had resolved the other?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Unless you point something out that I'm also forgetting.
No, so this is not from the ordinance itself. So this is in the language for a conditional use permit. Obviously, the intent is to reduce potential impacts to surrounding neighbors. With my understanding, the board has large discretion at putting conditions on approval. So this would be an additional condition that the board would add. And basically, by ensuring that that first code enforcement case is resolved prior to the uptake of this conditional use, we don't want to in any way compound a problem or leave something lingering. And so that would be staff's recommendation.
That's perfectly legitimate.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I mean, for that matter, you can also make it a condition that second residence get taken down before, rather than timeline unknown. So, yes, those are well within your authority.
Okay, so not table, just go ahead and set the timeline
Yeah.
out today. If we were to approve today, which we meet the other requirements, we can have those conditions as you suggested, right?
I think one functions the same as the other.
Yeah, okay.
It just depends on what action you all would like to take and whether or not you would require the applicant to come back before you.
Understood. So does anyone else have any questions for the staff at this time? Is y'all, do you have a question?
No, it's the applicant
Yes, well, is everybody done with the staff?
here. Yeah, we're done with him.
Is the applicant here? Would you step forward, please?
They came in late, so they're not.
Yeah, they're not sworn in yet, Charlie.
Oh. You swear or affirm the statement you're to make to be the truth to the best of your information and belief?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, do you want to add anything before the questions, or do you just want to answer the
Yeah,
questions?
just some clarification.
Okay.
So, yes, we did put in for this, knowing that it's going to be a lengthy process. We were told this was step one. While under doing this, we did have some weathering problems that created some issues. We have taken PTO, holiday vacation time from work to try to remedy it. We are working diligently on trying to get those accomplished, and we do understand that that must be done before we move forward. So we're not opposed to any kind of restrictions or conditions that have to be met before this is going forward.
Okay, you understand our concerns?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Channing, did you have a question for them?
I just like seeing everything cleaned up before we make like another mess.
Yes.
And like, that way.
We feel the
you
same
ensure
way. We
that
don't
the
wanna be overwhelmed
character
either.
Of the vicinity remains, intact.
Yes.
And I would just like to see that and then see you all back. That's just me.
So this should improve the
Yes.
character of the land once they've cleared all that out.
And it said on there that it was farm workers or family. Which is it?
Family. He also maintains this, it's our son, it's his son, my stepson. So he does live there, he has family, but he also maintains the land. He had an accident that put him down for a little while, a motorcycle accident, so he was unable to. But like I said, we have taken PTO, we have cleared the debris, we've cleared the scrap. We do have more things that we have to do, yes, but we are all joining together to make sure that it's done as quickly as possible.
If they were tenants, like farm tenants, then you would deal with noise, vibration, lights, early in and out.
Oh, yeah, no,
Lots
he
of
has,
other.
he tends the farm, but he's not a farm tenant because he's family. So like he takes care of the farm, he clears the weeds, he maintains it. But he's not up at any certain hour, or he's not creating any kind of disturbance there.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, so we're gonna have a little motion to be made, it has to be made with some conditions, so
Let me
Janet?
ask,
All right.
Rick, was there any concern from neighbors or?
Yes, there had been, at time, of
Thank
notice, we did have, I believe, one phone call, that spoke to concerns about the existing condition of the property. This person was advised that that's not within our jurisdiction, but they are within their rights to contact those it is. And then we became aware of, the kind of continuation of the situation. But basically, just to echo concerns the board already has, as well as, details in the code enforcement report.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion? All right, I'll make a motion.
I just want conditions on it.
Do what?
Yeah, I would just.
Yeah, that's
That's all I would like.
Well, do you want to make the motion so you can add the conditions?
I think that
How
we're all
about I
on
make a
the same.
suggestion?
Mm-hmm.
Approve the application with the additional condition, well, subject to the staff.
Other than clearing the
With the
house.
additional conditions that the cleanup be completed and the demolition of the dilapidated home be completed prior to the construction of the second dwelling that's being approved today.
And those two would take care of the
That would
thing
be
that's
the
against them, right? And the violation would
yes.
go away with those two
Yes.
things, right?
Well, if I may recommend,
Okay, that's what we
Mr.
need.
Perkins, you suss this out, that the language may not need to be so specific as we are not necessarily privy to everything it may take to clear a code violation. Maybe it just needs to say they need to be in compliance with code enforcement mandate, as opposed to clean this, clean that, take this down, take that down.
Charlie, is
You
that?
don't want three houses, so taking the other house down is appropriate. That's fine, just to say compliant with code enforcement. I understood that was.
Can we just
cleaning up stuff.
request
That's
a
fine,
letter
yeah.
from code enforcement saying
I
that
will
it's fine?
look for the record.
Well, that'd be,
Yeah.
I will note for the record that item 2 states that it complies with all other requirements of other federal, state, and local items, and code enforcement would qualify as a local entity.
so that's already in it, that's already in the condition.
Would you agree, or would you disagree with that?
Well, I agree, in a technical sense, belt and suspenders, I think, would be a good approach here.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna discount that one, it's just, it is kind of covered in
Okay.
some regard, but additional stuff
Yeah.
never depth.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump here and make a motion. If I forget something, someone help me out here, okay? I'm gonna make a motion that we approve application S 2025-26 on 686 Anderson Road for a secondary residence, taking into account all the staff recommendations
And fundings.
and findings, and to clarify the demolition of the house that is in violation at this
Well,
moment.
the dilapidated home
Yes,
and compliance.
Full compliance with them.
Code enforcement
Code
prior
enforcement.
to construction of the new house.
prior to construction of the new house. Does that cover it? All right, motion's been made.
I'll second.
I'll say,
All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed likewise. Motion's passed.
Thank you.
So don't let us
I'm
down,
sorry, I'm sorry,
guys.
who seconded this again?
Have a good evening. Okay. Everyone feel okay about that, I hope? Yep. Well, no, you can either have steak or a woman eat through. All right, moving on.
Okay. Y'all don't get away so easy. This one is, we're gonna complicate this one too. Deal? Deal. So, in a good way though. So after many, many discussions with the Zamoras here, so they have opted to kind of dial back their application a little bit. To be fair, it will be kind of similar to what you all saw most recently when they came for approval of extension of services to that barn. However, they just would like to clarify what is detailed as Phase 2 stuff in your all's packet will no longer be occurring, at least under this permit application. So no weddings, no larger events, things of that nature. Essentially, what they'd like to do is step outside the realm of just therapy services explicit and offer their services to, small corporate gatherings, things of that nature, potentially on Saturdays, but no 50-person weddings, anything of that nature. So anything is described as Phase 1, and your packet is what they're pursuing. Again, just be a slight expansion over what they were previously approved. We are still here at 2689 Frankfurt Road. A little bit of adopted language here by the Zamora's hand here. Joshua and Karen Zamora are requesting a conditional use permit to provide equine facilitated learning for private functions in an existing barn. So that language they provided to kind of reflect their Phase 1 events that they detailed before. Staff overall has recommended approval. Here's the property in question that we're familiar with. There in that top red rectangle is that white barn that they were previously, or tan barn, that they were previously approved to conduct, extended therapy services in. They want to continue to utilize this barn for their kind of amended, slightly expanded functions. It is accessed there off of 460. There is an access that runs out there to, I think it's Coleman Springs Path. Is that what it's called? There is a proposal currently to sell off part of the farm in the back that would cut that access off, so all access will be from 460. And they will be consolidating the barn again into the southern property. The zoning ordinance does state that public and private parks and recreational areas require a conditional use permit. The applicant's proposal most aligns with this use. We have previously discussed where they were approved for last time they were here. So I'll kind of skip through here a bit. Honestly, if you all don't mind, I would kind of like to mosey through this stuff as well because a lot of it pertains to the application and the report that you all received. Again, I'll keep this brief. They're just wanting to slightly expand their usage, so honestly, most of this is not applicable. Again, they will still utilize the parking areas that exist there, the gravel at the tan barn, a little bit around the main house, and also the other auxiliary building there south of the tan barn. Again, staff is of the opinion that this is a very slight increase over what they've been previously approved, and as such should not create any further nuisance or hazard to the general vicinity or public. So staff is recommending approval there, and if you all don't mind, if you don't have any questions for me, maybe I'll just let the Zamoras speak if they need to. Yep. Oh, there's the barn again. Anything for me?
Not in the moment.
Okay.
Be on standby.
Yeah,
Ma'am?
be on standby.
Be on
Oh, yeah.
standby.
Is the applicant here? Can you step up, please?
Hello, I'm Karen Zamora. It's my husband Josh.
I think so.
I read the directions at the beginning of the sign.
You all were
Okay.
sworn in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you stand up closer to the microphone? I'm getting old and starting.
Oh, that's
to hear-
okay. My name is Karen Zamora, and this is my husband Josh.
Okay.
All right, so I think we had some questions first. So you're not doing the weddings, correct?
Right, that's off the table.
You're wanting extended hours?
So possibly Saturdays, but right now we're looking at mainly during the weekday,
The 9 to 5?
9 to 5 at
Okay.
most.
And things that you're adding, just a couple questions I know have come up. So this wouldn't be like alcohol during the
No.
day or?
No.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to say that, so.
All right, anybody having questions for them?
So did I understand you say weekdays 9 to 5, not weekends?
We might do Saturdays, but right now we're just baby stepping it.
kind of need to either address Saturday or not address Saturday though, correct?
Yeah. I would
Do we
think.
need to?
Well, I would think the,
It would be during the day. Will you tell me what you want me to do? I'll do
Well,
it.
I'm just thinking if we only do weekdays
That's it.
and then you decide you really need to do some weekends,
Uh-huh.
you gotta come back.
Right.
So
You
if
could
that's
not-
okay, then that's okay. But if on the other hand, we could do the Saturdays right now, even if you don't plan on doing it anytime real soon, then you don't have to come back and we've got a bigger, better picture of what all's happening.
Okay, that sounds better to me.
Okay, good.
So Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5.
9 to 5.
The equine wellness programs, what are you?
It's the equine facilitated learning. So we're going to do staff retreats for other businesses, like other mental health therapists in the community, incorporating horses, so they can rest and relax. And that's what the wellness piece is.
So what is new of this and what you're already doing?
That's
are-
what I was,
It's expanding to who, so
Okay.
to who we're doing. I'm just trying to cross all my Ts and dots on my Is.
So you're still doing the same thing or is opening
Same
it up
kind of
to a
thing,
larger
but
crowd?
to a different, so it's learning versus therapy.
Okay.
I mean, and it's really splitting hairs, but like I said, I like to cross all the Ts and dot all the Is. So, so this is more, like, my hope would be like, maybe, some people from Toyota that work
it
in like a
says it
certain.
falls within the existing permit, is that right? Staff has determined that this event falls within the scope of the existing permit on the
As
phase
far
one.
as the intensity of use, yes, staff found it would be kind of similar or mostly the same as, as far as we're talking about the intent of the ordinance and the permit itself.
Right, phase one is all they're wanting to do, right?
But like she said, they're just wanting to have it
Right.
outside of the equine therapy program.
If
You're
the
wanting to
applicant-
have a
if the
larger
applicant
crowd.
seeks to clarify their
Yeah.
client base,
Yes,
which would
that's-
be different than kind of the previous permit. It was essentially expansion of their existing therapy services and their clients into that space. So if this is a new client set, staff can agree with the applicant that maybe it does need to be clarified, that it does cover their bases in the event.
Okay.
Anybody new were to move in down the street and call us and say, hey, they've got Toyota out here, I don't think they need a whole lot of therapy, they're just kind of hanging out.
So they're not changing what they're doing, they're just gonna change who they do it with,
I'll let them agree or disagree.
Is that
but
correct?
That's what staff understands.
pretty much?
And a Saturday.
Yeah, on the Saturday, that's the two.
That I feel like we're forcing
You look
on them.
skeptical, is that it?
Like,
So we don't do therapy, we do team building and.
That's why I was
yeah,
asking
Yes,
about
so it's more of
their
a team
definition of
building,
it.
relaxation.
Okay.
We'll still incorporate the yoga, and then we'll have horses. And it's more of a learning with the horses.
Okay.
So, educational piece. And how do you get along with your coworkers? That's basically what it
So this
is.
is more like seminar offerings
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
about the
say
same
that.
subject matter as you would otherwise be doing therapy for individuals, or maybe even
Yes.
small groups.
Thank you.
Is that different?
Kind of the same thing, just different people.
How about a motion that
Different
says,
population.
I feel like
unless there's a huge increase in numbers, this is the same thing, and send these fine people home?
Other than the Saturday, Charlie, the Saturday.
I don't
And to
see
include
why
in their
it's
Saturdays.
different.
Yeah, we're gonna have to, yeah.
Some people's work week is Saturday.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant or staff? Getting ready to do a motion. We'll have to do a motion because it's Saturday.
Sorry, I just
Yes,
don't
yes,
see
you're
a
right.
big difference. I don't see a difference outside of that day.
All right, can entertain a motion. Rachel, you want to jump in there and make that motion?
Yes.
I appreciate it.
I move that we approve S-2025-27, taking into account the staff report and recommendations, basically expanding it to Saturdays.
And I'm gonna include the word seminar, in here, because that is,
Or retreat.
like the other side of. what
Seminars,
we're doing.
retreats on Saturday.
That's already, yeah, everything except seminar is already on there.
We get a second?
I
Motion
second.
been made. Take a second from Janet. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Likewise, say nay. All right. Motion
you all
passed.
so much.
Thank you so much. And I guess that's everything, unless staff has something else?
Sorry if I seemed dense. I was like, this is the same thing.
Yeah.